Chapter 6 of Red Dead Redemption 2 is where the Van der Linde gang's long, painful collapse finally becomes undeniable, and everything that's been simmering through the entire story finally boils over. What makes this chapter so powerful is that it isn't just about big events, it's about the emotional unraveling of every person in that camp. And for all the tragedy it brings, there are a few things that go right, but they come at a cost the gang can't afford. One of the few things that does go right is Arthur Morgan's clarity. Throughout the chapter, Arthur finally understands the truth about Dutch. Truth he's been avoiding because of years of loyalty. After returning from Guarma and seeing the disastrous choices Dutch continues to make, Arthur gains a sense of purpose he's never had before. He stops acting out of blind loyalty and instead acts based on his own moral compass, something that's been growing stronger ever since Chapter 3. His decision to protect John and ensure his family escapes feels like a complete reversal of who he was at the beginning of the game. This internal shift is one of the few positive developments because for the first time Arthur isn't being manipulated. He's choosing his own path. Another thing that goes right is Arthur confronting Micah and exposing him as a traitor, at least partially. Arthur becomes the first member of the gang to see Micah clearly, and despite Dutch refusing to listen, Arthur's warning plants the seed for the truth to eventually unravel. Arthur also makes amends with people he's hurt, like Reverend Swanson and even Mary Beth in smaller moments, giving the chapter a surprising amount of emotional grounding. His interactions with Rainsfall also highlight this growth. Arthur helps the Wapiti not for Dutch's benefit, but because he believes it's the right thing to do. These moments of genuine humanity and redemption are some of the brightest points in a chapter otherwise defined by devastation. But for every small thing that goes right, something much larger goes wrong. The biggest issue is Dutch's total descent into distrust and paranoia. He stops seeing the gang as family and starts treating everyone as tools or threats. He dismisses Arthur, marginalizes John, and clings to Micah because Micah tells him exactly what he wants to hear. Dutch's long-standing leadership flaws, his ego, his refusal to admit mistakes, and his obsession with freedom finally become unmanageable. Every failed plan, every death, every loss piles onto him, and instead of adapting, he tightens his grip and lashes out. This shift destroys any hope the gang had left. Another major failure is how fractured the gang becomes. Chapter 6 is filled with tension. Arthur and Micah are openly hostile, John is imprisoned, Sadie becomes more reckless, and even loyal members like Javier and Bill start acting out of fear rather than loyalty. What once felt like a family now feels like a group of strangers trying to survive each other. The camp at Beaver Hollow symbolizes this. Dark, damp, unsettling, and suffocating. Everything about it shows how far the gang has fallen from the hopeful days of Horseshoe Overlook. John's arrest and the gang's refusal to rescue him is another major breaking point. Dutch abandoning John is one of the clearest signs that he's no longer the leader he claims to be. Arthur and Sadie having to take it upon themselves to break John out is a brilliant moment, but the fact that Dutch doesn't care is devastating. It shows that the gang's loyalty has become a one-way street. Everyone is expected to follow Dutch, but Dutch follows no one, not even the people who have bled for him. Of course, the final tragedy is Arthur's worsening tuberculosis. His illness shapes every moment of the chapter. How he breathes, how he stands, how he talks, how he fights. The game doesn't treat this as a background detail, it's a constant reminder that Arthur is running out of time. And the more he weakens, the stronger his conviction becomes. That contrast is one of the reasons Chapter 6 is so unforgettable. His final rides with Charles, Sadie, and finally with John are some of the most emotional sequences in the entire game. Ultimately, what went wrong for the Van der Linde gang in Chapter 6 can be traced back to everything Dutch refused to face. His mistakes, his ego, his changing gang, and the truth about Micah. What went right, ironically, happened because Arthur began to see through Dutch, not because of Dutch's leadership. Arthur's redemption, John's escape, Sadie's growth, and Charles's loyalty all come from individuals choosing good in a world falling apart, not from Dutch's direction. Chapter 6 is the moment when the gang stops being a dream and becomes a tragedy. But it's also the moment when Arthur becomes the man he was always capable of being. And that duality, devastation paired with redemption, is what makes it one of the strongest chapters in all of gaming.